What else you got? Anything else cool down there you want to share with us?
So somebody asked about concaves, right, and steepness. So
Okay.
I didn't get my weekend today to give these boards away, but Tanner wanted some boards that were symmetrical, and he liked one mold, but he wanted to try another mold. Well, I ended
Tanner
up
Brzezinski?
Yeah, so while I'm doing it, I'm just going to cut it in a couple different molds for you. And I looked at them in the seat when I was on the way here going like, oh, this is a great example. So if you look at these boards, you see how they don't mate at all.
Yeah, no.
Right?
Yeah, they're all over
all over the board.
Right.
Yeah.
So that also gives us an interesting way to analyze it. Let me see if I got. There we go. I know every skater or skate shop should have some riser pads around to accurately measure a board. So what I want to share with you, I shared with you guys a digital gauge I had before, right?
Yes,
that
I remember that.
And it was something that I sort of trying to solve the puzzle of PJ Ladd had to sort of try to connect the result of the wheel, the truck, and the board. And so I want everybody to be clear that now I'm going to share how anybody with an iPhone can understand it.
Okay.
How have I got to turn this thing on now?
So what are you measuring exactly?
So what we're going to measure is angles. Okay. So for an example, let me see which one's which. So we'll start.
That is a steep concave board, and
Yeah,
now you're going flatter and flatter and flatter.
Yeah. So I was going to start with the flatter first.
Okay. Perfect.
This one's the flatter one.
Yeah, that looks flat.
That looks flat as
So-
hell.
Yeah.
I could almost. That's like.
So first of all, see how this board, as I tap on it, I'm assuming this table's pretty flat, knowing that if I was
Yes.
going to make something like this in the planer, I'd run it through, and it's pretty flat.
Yeah.
So this board isn't wanting to spin a lot on this table. But there is a little bit of belly. So it's mathematically, I want to get my math right. So I'm going to take these riser pads, I'm going to put it underneath the trucks. So now it's not going to rock that direction, right? Now it's nice and stable. Okay. So you grab your iPhone. Make sure the ringer's off on this thing. It's going to start making lots of noise. That's why I turned it off.
Dubs, what's his password? Did you see it?
I missed 555.
1, 2,
What's
3,
my
4,
face?
5.
It doesn't even know who I am anymore.
2525.
It doesn't even recognize you? Don't do it too many times.
Okay.
You'll brick your phone.
So on an iPhone, and I don't know about Androids, but they probably got an equivalent because everybody pretty much has an equivalent, right? So there's an app in here called Measure, and there's Level, right? So I'm going to take this, and Dubs, you're going to have to read the numbers because so I'm putting in the middle of the board.
It's level.
And you can see I got a 0, right? So now as I put a 0 here, I'm actually 1 on this
You
one
are.
where the truck is.
Oh.
I'm -1 over here, right? I'm 19 here. I'm 19 here, but if I slide it down or up, if I hang the phone over the edge, I'm 20.
Yeah, but Paul, this isn't like.
So this is a symmetrical board.
Are you putting the riser pads under there just so you have a
Level.
I'm trying to make a constant with everything.
Okay.
But I'm also trying to show skaters out there
Right.
that you'll see in a different mold when it's rocking, you're just not going to get a good number.
Okay.
Right? So this can take place with a deck. Okay, and you can understand your deck. You know.
So we were like one little. What is it? What are those millimeters or something? What
Just
are those
angles.
Angles. Okay, so
Just
we
degrees.
were
Degrees.
1 degree off, right?
Right.
Okay.
So so that's a PS 101 mold.
This is P. Okay.
Okay, that's a
this is a
specific
big
mold I've had for
board.
many years. Okay, so here I got a 0 on here. I go to this truck, I got a 0. So that means this board is flat across there, right? There's no change in that part. Okay, now this doesn't have tense. I don't know why Apple doesn't have tense in the Measure app, but if anybody has any friends that work there, tell them skaters need tense at least. 1 tenths, 2 tenths. We get really accurate if you want, but
Maybe there's an app that has it.
maybe
Have you
there's
looked?
another app that
Okay.
does. I just haven't worked with it.
Gotcha.
But what I find is that it's not about being exact. It's about being in a range. I really don't care about exact. I care about understanding the range because it's organic and there's going to be a range. So here we can see, here we got 18
18.
Here,
He's on the nose.
right?
Now he's going on the tail.
and we got 18.
18 over it. This is a symmetrical board, though, right?
Yep, got
Okay.
18 here.
So
If I drive my tape measure, if I hang it off the end, I get 19.
yeah.
So see how I come up here start to get the number to come up.
But
right?
let me ask you a question. What
now
is the purpose of this?
Well, I'm trying to help people understand their board. This board works really good. Why does it work good?
But I don't know why it works so good if it's an 18 or a 20.
Okay, but I'm going to help you understand that.
Okay,
But we're going to see the range first.
Okay, so we're going to working with the range.
Right. So something we didn't talk about with that is sort of the fingers of flat. So to be clear, I look at fingers of flat is the center of the truck hole on the edge of the finger, and then where this finger. So that finger's dead 100% flat. This finger is pretty much about 2/3 of the way in is the center of the radius. Do you see that? Would you agree with that, Dubs?
Yep.
And
Slightly
do you
going up.
remember when it was one finger flat and you wanted it 2 or 3? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're that generation that was like everything in the world camp was with fingers of flat,
Yes.
right? Like that's how they judged it. And so the fingers of flat on this mold is less. Okay, so we see this mold I have roughly probably 1 1/4 fingers, right? So when I look at this on the table, the nose and tail are steeper in height, but not necessarily angle, right? So we have all these pieces. We have this distance, we have the height, the angle, then we got the truck, the wheel, and everything else that goes with it. Okay, so this particular one,
That's the flattest one you got. Just
Right, so
judging
this
by my
is-
eye.
well,
I
this
got
one's got
Got a good eye.
over 2 fingers of flat, lots of flat to it, right?
I knew it.
0 in the middle, 0, 18, 18.
We're still working with the
Okay.
18.
Right. So these
Even though
are
it's
these are
flat.
symmetrical, but
But it starts
the-
later.
It starts later.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
so,
okay,
so it's
okay.
further
Two fingers.
apart.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
further apart. So if we took this 2 molds, this mold is actually the same mold, just an inch shorter. Okay. So if I look at this right now, let's see if I find the right comparison. When I stack the S mold on top, you can see how it doesn't fit, right? But when I put it on the bottom here, and I match up these tails, you go like, oh, there's air on there, right?
Yes, I could see that.
And that's further apart.
Okay.
And basically, this S mold is going to manual easier, okay, because it's going to be easier to pick up the nose.
How come these don't come with instruction booklets?
Well, tricks don't come with instruction booklets either, do you?
I
You
know,
gotta
but if
figure
you
it out.
told me
Yeah,
that I
true.
had a board that I could manual better with, I'd run with that one.
Obviously.
I don't know these things, though.
Yeah, you still got to come to the shop and work on your manual.
We worked it, bro.
So here's
We
another
came down
mold.
there.
This is the steepest of the steep.
So this is
that
steep.
one looks.
So this is a mold that right now it's Dev P20, so it's Development P20, and it's 0 here, 0 here, and
20.
this one's 21 here.
Damn.
Okay, so this isn't even the P20 then. This is that's the P20, yeah. And then this one on the nose is 25.
Whoa.
It's not
Okay,
symmetrical.
So it's not symmetrical.
Right.
I cut this isn't what he was asking for, but I had a blank. It was on CNC. I'm just going to show him this mold that I've got.
Oh.
It's
might
a
like it.
development mold. Someone might like it. Someone might not like it,
True.
right? But the issue is the shape is symmetrical, meaning the lengths are the same. The fingers are flat are the same. The shape this way is the same, but the surface is not. So really, is to be truly symmetrical, there's 4 things that got to be right: the drilling, the physical profile of the shape, and then the fingers flat. You know, that ties to the drilling, right? So you got to have all that together
Right.
to make it work right. Now, someone had asked something about measuring a board. So a lot of people now measure skateboards like this. And someone said something about wanting a Grasso story. So here's a Grasso story for you, or Grasso and Lucero story. When they joined Schmitt Stix, they wanted 31-inch boards. Brad Dorfman says, we sell 30-inch boards. And we couldn't get Brad to accept that they weren't going to be 30. And we made 30-inch boards, and we made rider boards for Lucero and Grasso at 31. And everybody's like, what? We don't have a nose as long as theirs. It was just ridiculous, because salesman dimensions. 10 by 30 was the dimension in the 80s, and the salesmen were convinced it's all you could sell.
Okay.
Didn't care about how long the wheelbase was, how long the nose was. He just cared about the dimensions. So that's why I always consider the length a byproduct. So if I looked at my computer file right now on my CNC, this is a 32-inch board.
And you're measuring it from the tip of the nose to the tip of the tail without going into the concave.
Correct.
For people listening. 'cause
Right.
People
So
listen
I'm
to the show,
projecting
too.
it down.
Right. So it's just a straight across.
Right.
Okay.
So in this particular board right now, so if I cut my grip tape at 32, you're going to be disappointed.
It's not going to fit.
It's not going to fit.
Right.
You're going to have a piece missing. Because this particular board is coming in at 32 and a half.
What? Okay.
Okay.
Keep going.
And, but if I go look at this one, for instance.
But what's the proper way to measure it? Is there not a proper way, or you just measure it?
Our feet don't linger in the air. So if we were, what do they call those slackliners? If we were slackliners,
Right.
but we're not slackliners, we're skateboarders,
Yeah.
to be clear. We're not
Okay.
slacking here, okay?
Yeah. No.
However, the balance to be a slackliner looks amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had that balance. But here's a scenario where this one is 32, right? But when I go this way, it's only 32 and a quarter.
Okay. Okay. It's
Right?
a little smaller. yeah.
Because of the fingers are flat.
Right.
And where it is, right? This one. So this is the mold Tanner already rides. So this is what he's used to. So I'm showing him other boards that are symmetrical and then one that's out of the ballpark, just to share different, right? So here we see the 32, and here we see 32 and 3/8, right?
And this is the flattest one.
No, this is in between
So what's the proper way to measure it?
on the surface.
On the surface.
Same
The surface
place it
goes
is.
down.
Where your
Okay.
feet
Yeah.
ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your feet ride in the surface.
Okay.
Your feet don't ride like slackliners.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
And if you guys are slackliners out there, no insults.
Dude, that is
But
so
the
gnarly to do.
slackliners probably relate to what I'm saying better than we do, right?
Right.
sure.
Right. So it's so interesting because there's so many facets to it.
Right.
You know.
But you
you
see
said-
how you can use your iPhone to get that, right?
Right.
And the crazy thing is that there's no tenths of degrees there, right? When I'm working with a pro skater, usually about 0.3 is where I move them, where I get them in their zone. So that doesn't even get that. That's not micro tuning. That's general tuning, right? You know. But when you understand it, then it's great. And then the same thing applies with a complete board. So go back to Andy's board here. So here, you could do the same thing with a complete. Okay, so I got my 0. Find out where the trucks are. Okay, so these trucks are flat on this. Okay. The tip on this is 20. The tip on this end is 20. Okay, so it's symmetrical. When I look at it here, in here, the fingers are flat. It looks like it might be shifted a hair forward. Do you see that, Dubs? You see, it's just a little bit forward. Which is, I'm just used to
I love it. Bro, it's amazing.
I'm
love
just so used to hearing you say it on the show.
It's amazing, bro. No, I
That's
love
the
it.
reality.
Keep calling him Dubs. What's his name?
But you know that characteristic because the 90s, that's what it was about. Everything was shifted a quarter inch forward.
Right.
Okay, and we had a little less flat, so a little more fingers are flat in the back, a little less fingers are flat in the front.
Have you? Okay, please keep
You
going.
know,
Keep going.
I'm not sure if that's conscious on this board or not because the tolerance I'm talking about here is very light. It's manufacturing.
It's minute.
Well, I want it to be perfect. Well, it didn't come out of an injection mold. You know,
It's never gonna
And
be
do you know the
perfect.
shrink rate of that material that came out of that injection mold? Because if you want to be perfect, you got to know the shrink rate.